Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kira. It's so pleasure to do this again. Anybody for public forum? Okay.
Here for old time's sake. As you're aware, Shannon Smith has left the district and we needed to elect a new president for Conic Hills Faculty Association. What you may or may not know is that my wife, Lisa Reese, was elected and will now serve as president. She apologizes for not being here to introduce herself personally, but she had another obligation and was switching the meeting to a Tuesday. We were sort of, well, no, it was scheduled for a Tuesday, but it caught us off guard. She couldn't get out of her other obligation. So she sent me. She wanted me to let you know that she's grateful and encouraged by this opportunity and looks forward to working together for the benefit of the students at Conic Hills. She believes that contractual relationship is a foundation for trust, respect, and mutual responsibility, and provides solid ground for us to move forward. In light of this, and in order to open positive communication, it's her hope that you'll join her at the liaison meeting, shared decision-making meetings, and the Conic Hills Faculty Association will become a regular item on the board agenda. She wants to thank you in advance for extending the Memorial Day weekend, which is on the agenda to be approved tonight. It means a lot to the Conic Hills community if that is extended. As a token of our unity, she asked me to give you the t-shirts that's out there. We also have binded copies of the contract. If you guys don't have them, I know everybody has the digital ones. I'm old. I like the hard paper.
Me too, Ken.
So
Me too.
she wanted me to let you know that she has them. If anybody wants them, just shoot her an email and she'll get them to you. Yeah, and that's it. So thank you. I'm not going to stay all night, but it's kind of nice being back here. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would like to also thank Mr. Reese, since it's his retirement year, and all the hard work that he's done for our students and staff. who've come out.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Joe Artis.
Again, here for old time's sake. It just seems like
That's so funny.
no podium, so this is a little different. I wanted to speak tonight just to let you guys know, let you all know, sorry, that what was it, a month ago? About a month ago, 7 of us from the executive committee from the association went up to Cooperstown for a conference for school-related professionals, which is the support staff group of us. We had a couple of classes and some dinner and more classes the next day. I think you guys kind of know how it goes with your little meetings. It's probably the same way. So it was the first time I had been to a conference in however long that I've been part of the union. So it was different. It was a learning experience, I think, for almost all of us. My president here picked the perfect class for me, and does it always have to be a battle on my first
Oh,
day?
that was the class?
Yes,
That was the
does
class.
it always have to be a battle?
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
I learned a little bit in that class, learned a little bit in that class. But we had, there were some other classes in understanding contractual language and how to read your contract and just some different other classes that we partook in. And then just met with other people that do the same thing that we all do from other schools and, making that connection to see how much different one district is from another and the same issues that they're dealing with, that we're dealing with, and how everybody's coping with different things. So it was a good experience that I think was beneficial to the 7 of us that attended. And it was just something that I think on the positive to bring back to all of you, to share with you, to let you know, this is something that we did that I think was a good thing for us as a group. And I think also on the other end of things, you spend a little time with people on a weekend, you kind of form a little bit more of a bond maybe than what you normally have. So that was also a good experience. I think brought a little more unity to the group of us, as well as the information that we have to bring back to our group as a whole. So just wanted to,
I love that you did that, and honestly, all of us need professional development every now and then, and the fact that you bring up that the 7 of you were more united after that event, and really that's what those things are about as well, because in our day-to-day business, we don't always get to do those types of things, so that's good. It's awesome, Joe. Thanks.
thank you. See everybody later.
All right, I need a motion for the acceptance of the agenda. Motion, please. Bill, second. Joe, any questions? All in favor? Okay. I need a motion for the acceptance of the consensus agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Alicia, second. Ron? Any questions on that? So, do that. So we're losing Matt Perry, Kimberly Cooper, Jim, who's you got a new position, so congratulations to you.
Moving on. Thank you very much.
We have in the audience, we have the new special ed teacher, Christopher.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, nice to meet you, Christopher.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. I just want to say my dedication will shine through, and I look forward to building with everyone. So thank you.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. That's awesome. Does anyone have any other questions on the consensus agenda? All right, all in favor? Thank you. We're with the presentation, so we have the NWEA report card and update by Dr. Sam Gardner. I was like looking for her, she's moved now, she's in the middle of her, set over there.
So, good evening, first of all, and as you know, usually around this time of year, we do the school report card, as well as we do it in the fall when it comes out, when it's timely to do it, but we're required as part of the budgeting process to also report again. So, that's what this presentation is about tonight, but there's even less data than normal because again, of the state testing situation we had last year. So Neil and I spoke about it, and we really decided the best bet on this one was to have you hear a little bit more about our NWAs this year than I typically go into. So that's what the major focus of this is. I want to remind you that we always do everything around our mission statement, and these were our student achievement targets that we developed several years ago, and we have kept them the same so that we could remain focused on the same thing for a longer period of time. So those are our targets, and we'll break down each one of them. Page one is student graduation rate, looking at a 4-year rate of 88%. And Jim has shared information. This is your school report card link. I cut out a lot of the zeros, but if you go to the link, that is our graduation rate, and we did achieve the above 80% that is required by the state, but we still want to get better to that 88%. So couple things that I would like to point out on that last slide to the board that I'm constantly watching. You've heard me talk about equity between our student populations, and we're still lagging behind in our social economic graduates compared to now. Also, in this particular cohort, females were much stronger than males, and we couldn't speak about that before. We want to make sure that we're providing the right education both populations. And finally, we said we still need to attend the next grade. This is what Jim feels the class of 2022 is looking like. So I'm going to let him just talk a bit about that.
Sure, we had 103 students that go into our graduation rate. We're looking at 84 of those being on track and we're certain are going to make it to graduation. We have 4 students that are at risk that we have planned for them. We're working on them. Some of them are long-term absence things. Some of them are dealing with the social, emotional, and health problems that are making it difficult for them to get through. If we're able to get those 4 through by the end of August, or by August through summer school, that will increase our rate. If all 4 were to get there, that would bring us somewhere up around 85 to 86% graduation rate. And then we have 3% that are now juniors that are not, we're not anticipating them to graduate this year, but if we can keep them coming to school, that'll increase the 5-year rate for the following year. We have 11 students are what causes us to really drop down low in terms of our graduation rate. And those 11 students have so many different backgrounds that have brought them there. There's a student on there that is, as part of this cohort, really hadn't been to school since 6th and 7th grade for a short period of time. But, you know, through different things with DSS and all the different supports, at this point, you know, 4 years later, they come off the books on us. We've had some of the students that we've enrolled in past programs to try and get them something. Those 10 or those 11, it makes a big difference on your graduation rate, but it makes a bigger difference on those students. So it's just an area that we at Taconic Hills and really everywhere need to keep on improving and find ways to address those needs of those students, especially at the young ages when we can predict who those types of kids are.
Can you go back just a minute? So were those 11 kids, were these like 11 kids that were, I mean, because I know we talked about cohorts and there's some that are, so were these 11 kids pretty much through the years?
It's 11 students that entered as 9th graders and should graduate this year.
And 11 of them are no longer going. Dropping out. Or drop.
Well, they're not physically.
Right, they're not, they could be in the task program, we could be working with them still in other ways
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And you know, we've had through the years, and we haven't even had one, I believe, on this year also, that, you know, if a student comes and they move, and you can't track them down anywhere. They haven't registered to go to school anywhere
Oh,
else.
they just disappeared.
They just basically disappear, and those come as well.
They move and they age out.
Right.
So then once they turn 16, technically, even a lot of 7. No, they're not obligated. By the school community.
And
Big
it's
number.
even trickier when they move out of state because there's stuff that we can do, and then when they move out of the country, that becomes. Sometimes that happens.
We try to get a lot of those, you know, students in and get them some sort of education. But then inevitably, due to cultural reasons, financial reasons, they move on.
And I would like to remind the board that I think as a leadership team, I think we're really strong about worrying about the student first and foremost over some of these numbers. We always work with the student and do what's best for them. Even if it means we know that there might be a fit now.
And really, if you looked at the previous year, you'd really see that, and that's where we had so many kids in the task program that school was not going to be their thing. They struggled through the pandemic. They were going to graduate. We needed to get them out of here with at least something. When I think of the 11 students there, I know 3 of them offhand that we weren't able to get into the task program, but
we were able to make sure that they were working, they were moving on. There's one that's working down in Carrington, there's a few in some other places. So it's nice to see that they leave here. If they don't have a diploma, at least they have a future for them.
We often refer to it as a family pattern. That's the philosophy we take, I think it's the right one. The other thing I want to remind the board about is we used to talk a few years ago about class sizes of around 100, so any jump we were making with one student. Now we're looking at class sizes in the 80s, some cases even 75. So that's, one student doing something could be more than 1%. So that's something just to be aware of. So we don't have state pass, but we do have NWA. So we're going to move on and talk about proficiency levels. Usually you see the one document from me that kind of sums it all up. We're going to go a little deeper tonight. And one of the reasons beyond not having the state data, there was a little more red than you typically see from us. And the red is how much they're growing, typical. And if they didn't meet the rate of growth that you would want, then it was red. So a little more than typically I put up at this time of the year. So I thought that was really worth then going into a little bit more detail into what areas those are. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to look at reading first. So here's our kindergarten reading. And when we tested these students coming in the fall, about 68% were at or above average. When we reassessed them this winter, only 54% are. So, we're looking at these growth bands, and I think when you really have a chance to study this presentation out on their own, you're going to see you want the growth bands to be pretty similar and anything becoming darker, so that we're accelerating growth. And in this case, we didn't. So this is certainly something to discuss with kindergarten teachers and delve into a little bit. Same thing with grade 1, but not as much. Remember, I reminded you about that percentage point. So maybe a couple of students to start making the growth we would want. But we want those darker, possibly darker colors to be wider as we move on. Grade 2, on the other hand, did very well with accelerated growth, but they were much lower coming in. They were 31%. Were below grade level. And if you remember, Mary and Darby felt this was a grade level to do a supported classroom. And we believe the results indicate, especially in that the supported classroom is helped because we made things. This is grade 3. Made some nice gains in grade 3. And grade 4, again, gains. Grade 5 was a stronger cohort to begin with. We had 75% of the students testing at or above average at the beginning, and now there's 70 again. That's 1 or 2 students. So not anything to be greatly concerned about. We just want to monitor. And the other piece of this is we really want to be at that 75 to 80% mark where students are at or above grade level. We've talked to you in the past about response to intervention, and if our first level or tier 1 program in the classroom is doing the right things for our students, then 75 to 80% of those students should be at or above average. Okay, so that really is the mark we're looking for, and they were on that mark in the fall, and we want to just continue to work to that. I'll be really interested to see what happens in June with their school. 6th grade made nice things. 7th grade, probably 1 student moved up this slide and stayed. 8th grade. and these are your ninth graders. I would like to remind the board that at ninth grade, if they receive a 90 percentile, we don't have them reassessed. So this is really good when we think about the students that were the 90th percentile in the fall, we could have them sit this assessment as a motivational tool to do their best. And they, so even with those students missing out of that cohort, we did well.
So just remind me a little bit about the NWA test, what it is.
Yes, it's a growth measure of how, where students are at with their academic achievement and how they're doing, which is why this growth is so important. It's dynamic, so it changes with the student's ability, unlike the state test where all students get the same set of questions and they're scored on those. Everybody gets different questions depending on where they left off in the last testing. Thanks, Neil, for that clarification. So we're going to move on to language usage. Language usage is the grammar piece of our English language. So it's more skill-based rather than the holistic. So we start language usage at grade 2, so you won't see a play in one slide on there. Again, second grade came out really strong, making some real gains. Not that they're not below what our other cohorts are, but what we're doing is seemingly working. We are accelerating growth. Third grade did well again. Fourth grade did well again. Fifth grade did well again. Sixth grade lost a little ground here, so we just want to watch that. Seventh grade, I do have some concerns. We are starting to work a little bit more with professional development at this grade level, as far as carrying what we've been doing in our using the Cawthon's writing program in the 7th and 8th grade. So we had Quest Star coaches working with both the 7th and 8th grade teachers, and then we did some improvement. And 8th grade, small increase. And there's your 9th grade. Now we're going to move into math, and math does start again at the kindergarten level. And again, a little bit of a decrease, so we're going to continue to monitor how these students are progressing. What's this kindergarten math? What's kindergarten math?
One fish, two fish, three fish, two fish.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Seuss?
Okay. Your shapes, your patterns, something like that. Maybe the patterns and those things. Counting.
Simple.
First grade stayed the same. We want to accelerate growth, so we're looking to increase that, but staying the same is not necessarily bad either. Especially NWA has told us it's so important to do this research testing, because often it's wondered, well, we really need to test 3 times a year. And they have said that, some students will not test well in June if they haven't set the assessment since fall. So they really don't recommend eliminating that winter testing section as a best practice. Third grade, a little bit of a decrease. Fourth grade, quite a good increase. Again, they were lower in math. Fifth grade to sixth grade. Seventh grade had some increase. So these 8th graders are the students that are accelerating and taking the accelerated math program, so they are in geometry this year. So we didn't have them sit the regular math testing session, had them sit the geometry, and it can go either way. The thought, is if we really want teachers to use the data, to make informed instructional decisions, we should give them the assessment where they're actually, focusing their studies and their. So, for these students, we do have them separately class in geometry. And we would expect a very high rate of repeat test. Future science, we do not begin until grade 6. So that was a decline. Again, another decline in grade 7. And 8 will show the same. I think probably what's going on is we have new textbooks. Textbook teachers, the next gen standards. These are old ones that are the old standards. So I think it's going to take a while to actually all catch up. These norms are all pre-COVID also. So we're basing all of this data on pre-COVID norms that we can get.
That's pretty significant there.
It is there. I think it's, am I concerned? Yes, but I think I understand why, and I believe that things will improve.
Before you move on, I just wrote something down, like the very first slide you showed us where it was kindergarten and first grade. They went down from the fall to the winter. Is it because some of the kids that are coming in, like say for kindergarten, for instance, are they not prepared?
That they wouldn't have tested so well in the fall.
Okay,
So this test measures what you're supposed to be doing throughout the year.
okay,
So it's not the same,
All right,
you're not
so-
testing the same thing at the beginning of the year that you're testing at mid-year or at the end of the year. So there's expectations for learning to continue, and then they compare that learning to continue to other students around the nation and see how they are. But like
Yeah.
Sandra said, pre-COVID, I'm really interested to know how COVID, the other schools are faring, because we were one of the few schools that wasn't such.
well, that's true, that
So,
would be an interesting fact to know.
We'll be looking close to that.
And I just want to point out, there's grade 8 science, the data didn't carry through on the first PowerPoint that we sent to you, so when we were previewing, we caught that, so it's going to look different on this one. He was going to send you the update.
He did, yeah.
So, just to avoid any confusion, that's why I mentioned that. Okay, so, I think this is the best news of the night. We've been working for a long time on our attendance, and we noticed that several years ago, this was an issue, way back before 2018. And originally, I had just used the baseline of 2019, but I added in today 2018, and I did that for a reason. If you look at our 2021, we're seeing a percent decrease in both the elementary and the high school, and we're coming in closer to what the 2019 rate was. In fact, in the high school, we did better in 2021 fall semester than we did in 2019, which was starting to gear up towards COVID, but it wasn't, we were fully in session up through the fall, this is up through January, the end of January. So we can't, I think COVID might have impacted it some, Jim, but I don't think a lot up to that point. But to be at 13.7%, and 11.3, I think those are good numbers. I'm really happy about those. In fact, one of the first things I did when I really was able to look at this and see this and send it out is we had 2 people fill the attendance counselor position this year through the grant. One started the year with us, and then we moved her into a full-time counseling position, and then we hired somebody else. And I think of their work as well as the attendance committee work. I want to give a shout out to Lisa Mahar, who has really stayed on top of this all through the year, also as well as Terry Hoffman, as well as everybody. We've all worked on attendance, but those are some key people that have really taken it on as a mission within our school community, and I think their work is kind of paying off, and I'm glad about it.
So,
Yeah, that's definitely, but that 190 down to 76, that's pretty good, yeah, cool stuff.
and so I would also like to remind the board that, some of these absences are COVID absences. and
Right.
Some of them,
Yeah,
no, exactly,
yeah.
exactly, even though kids were allowed to Zoom into classrooms, when they were out on quarantine by the county or sick in fact. So, I think without those, we're still going to see a positive trend upward. I mean, a decrease
Yes.
in number of absences.
So if the kids stay at home, while they were home, we'll consider that.
We tried to keep track of them for attendance purposes, but there are some that did not.
But if they zoomed in, it wasn't enough.
Jim? we tried to
Correct,
keep track of
yeah,
those?
if somebody zoomed in, they were not considered to be absent for the day.
So,
Put a lot on teachers to me, and that they really worked with
so when we report,
Lisa and Jerry to make sure they got it.
when we report this stuff to the state, it was a significant challenge to keep track of, but. Good job.
And the state is requiring the mode of instruction, right? Whether it's remote or in person, so they're getting all that information, they'll have that comparison to other schools as well.
It was a little difficult to get used to. But we got better and better and better and put a system in place. We had many discussions about how to do this and came to some solid conclusions that I think benefit the students.
So, the next one is 75% of all students who pass all their classes. And I'm going to like to talk a little bit about that.
So this is a bar we set several years ago that we've been still trying to reach ever since. It's tough to get all of our students passing all of our classes. When you look at this, we have 70, with about 525 students. We have 70% of the students are passing all of their classes. We have 61 students that are just failing one class. Out of those 61 students, there's around 40 of them that are failing classes with grades within easy range, 62, 63, 64. So we're always right on the cusp of being able to meet this, but we're falling short in a few areas. One area that we always need improvement on, and it's common among most districts, is 9th and 10th grade. That's where, the rubber meets the road, where the classes that you're all taking are things that are going to go on your transcript for life. And kids have a little trouble with that transition. And we keep trying different methods to make it a little bit easier, and we're not done for sure. The number of students that are at risk, we classify them as at risk if they're failing 3 or more classes during the year. Those are the kids that we really need to look at. It's a relatively high number at 13%. But when you compare that to where we were the last couple of years, where we had 120 to 140 students failing multiple classes, it has come back drastically, having been back from COVID, that we're making a bit of a recovery. You can correlate those 70 students that are failing those 13, the 3 or more classes with the attendance records, and you'll find that many of those 70 students are the students that are chronically absent as well, that are failing many, many classes. The actual number of failures, when you add all of them up for all of our students, is down from what we had the last several years, and down to a level where we were at before the pandemic. We're seeing kids fail less classes, but we still have these 70 students that are obvious concerns.
So, this was our last target, and we have not been able to measure that because we were not able to get fully into advisory and everything else that entails for this school year. However, Erin was appointed, I think, last board meeting, right? Or was it? And she's going to work on that, and we'll hopefully at least do one measurement before the end of the school year, just so we can use that as least get that done, before the end of the school year, which is why I wanted to leave that in there, just to let you know where we are and what we can do. So with that, that was quite a bit of data. I hope you found it, informational. It may trigger more questions. As always, my door is open, on the phone call or the email away or whichever way. And I can always delve deeper into any questions you might have, that we can show you tonight through the data. So thank you for the time, and I think it's relatively good news, and that we recognize more of it.
Moving forward.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, superintendent report.
Okay, so we talked a lot about some of the core classes, and we've talked a little bit about some of the other core classes. I'm going to send this out to you, but this is a little report from the music department. Saturday, April 30th, we have our NISMA solo competition at Arlington High School, and that's an all-day event for some of our students. Tuesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. is our high school spring concert. Thursday, May 5th at 6:30 is our elementary band and 6th grade chorus spring concert. Tuesday, May 10th is at 7 p.m. is our junior high spring concert. Monday, May 30th, we're participating in the Memorial Day parades around the community. Friday, June 10th, we have our Flag Day Assembly performance that morning. So we're getting back to normal. Okay. I'd also like to fill you in on the library, the book vending machine. This is the incentive program that many have developed, and 86 books have been awarded to students in grade 7 through 12, about 2.5 books a day, and that they are purchasing through tokens given for good behavior, and that's part of the reward system. Like to also recognize Tanya Fricky for her leadership in that. Melanie Airy, positive referrals, and let's see, Antonia Vaness, Seth Tillinghast, Brian Proper, all asked for tokens. They use as rewards, giving out tokens for honor roll students for the 3rd quarter, and then they randomly draw one student in a lottery type of situation on Monday mornings, and they announce that. So that student can pick a book from the book vending machine. The Bank of Greene County Charitable Foundation just gave us $100 to buy books, and we're waiting on a second book order from the Spotty Dog for about $2,000 worth of books. And I think this is really a great thing. I'm moving forward on it. So I'm very excited. It's across from the library.
Yeah.
And the vestibule there that leads out towards the amphitheater. Some other things, New York State Education Department is investigating an educational breach on the Illuminate company, and that goes along with eSchool Data, and which is a student management system that schools use. We do not use it, but I don't. Am I still in your thunder, John? Are you going to report on that?
Oh, you're doing a great job.
Okay. But John took the survey today as they are investigating the depth of this. I understand that New York City is up in arms, and a lot of other school districts in our area are concerned that their personal identifiable information of students, such as addresses, telephone numbers, possibly birthday, social security numbers, may have been compromised. And the State Education Department is taking a very serious approach to this at this time. I'm happy to report it has not touched us. Has not touched us.
Stop right now.
Lockdown.
We guard this information. John guards this information with his life.
Absolutely.
So people complain about some of the hoops that we make them jump through. We have been successful in fending off any type of breaches so far. Okay. From my good, what we can do. I would also like to share with the board that several of the leadership team is going to do a seminar with Safer Schools Together. This is to update us on online behavioral trends. As you know, TikTok, Twitter, Yik Yak, there are many different platforms out there. And we worry about social media bullying, threats, self-harm, all of those topics. So Questar has formed a relationship with that company, Safe Schools Together, and we are going to be participating in some of this. The last thing I'd like to share is that we were notified this week of Long Road Development, which is a company that plans to construct a solar project at 762 New York, 217, solar by Rick's house. Just if you're heading into Mellonville on the right-hand side before you get to Coark, back there's a field. It seems as if that is an object of consideration back there. I have notified Mike Tucker, who is our Columbia County Economic Development Executive, and he received the same notification that I had. So he was unaware of these plans, so we're exploring them. The board may have to pass a resolution in order to confirm with the law, to confirm. That's not the right word. So we're worried about a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. And if you're familiar, those work, these have been a little bit of a thorn in my side because school districts as a taxing entity are not often invited to sit at the table when they give out, in my opinion, corporate welfare. So there is a resolution on the school boards, New York State school boards concerning this. And at least we have a verbal agreement that we will be invited, but we may need to take some board action as we find out more about this project. If you're familiar, that very often the economic development agencies or the IDA, the Industrial Development Agency, give out tax breaks, and then that tax break must be absorbed by other members in the town. So because, for example, you can have a company who gets a, let's say, has a property value and building value of $20 million, and then the town then must distribute that if they're given that sort of tax break. The other taxpayers pick that up, and I can honestly say that Taconic Hills has been very cognizant and careful about how we discuss those because of the tax impact that that's on. And that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Right, next up, so the National School Board Convention report, who wants to go first? You go first, okay. So we went, the board, 4 board members went to professional development and out in California, and we're reporting back on the sessions that we attended, some of the sessions.
So it's not a secret that since COVID, our children have really been struggling, and teachers are having a tough time, feeling overwhelmed, and in some cases burned out. So I attended sessions that really focused on these topics, and I can tell you that it is definitely a nationwide problem. They were very popular topics, and unfortunately, there isn't a miracle fix. We did hear from a motivational speaker, Dr. Weber, and he shared one of Henry Ford's quotes, which was, "I know it is a real problem. I'm not sure of the solution, but here is one thing we can do now." And I think that to acknowledge the issue and have a conversation about it, we need to think about things in a positive way and be committed to, this is a healing process that's going to take a long time. And we also need to recognize that we're all in this together, that we definitely share a common goal, and that's the success of our students. Together, we can accomplish that.
Also, I think that Joe made a really good point, saying that us traveling together was huge.
Correct.
We spent 4 days together, and I think we probably talk to each other now almost every day. So that was, I think, one of the most important things. But like Alicia said, we went into one room, probably 4 times the size of this, just on negativity. And it was full. And the speaker was just like blown away that there was that much negativity in so many schools. And he was a superintendent for what, 30 some
Yes.
years. And he was trying to tell us that, yes, there's so much negativity, but he would approach everybody in the school with positive feedback, no matter what it was. If I come to you and I said, you know, I'm having a bad day, this is going wrong, this kid's being, you know, unruly, and he'll say, well, what can I do to help you fix this? Whether he can or not, but it's still, you need to have positivity in school. Come back, right?
I think that's enough. No, you're not done. First, I'd like to say, I had a wonderful time at these three. San Diego, went to San Diego, and it rained for 2 days.
It never rains.
It never rained in Southern California. But it was a great experience, and I liked it because, first off, you meet a lot of people from different areas of the country. Texas, California, Montana, you know, states you would never have, may not have the opportunity to visit. It was nice to meet you. A couple of words that stuck out in my mind. One was that the responsibility of the board. Now, most of the time, it's mainly fiduciary, where we're concerned about the money and how to spend it properly, so that we can maximize the students' achievement and handle all the projects that come up for the school. But it also emphasized that it's changing a little bit, that there has to be, you know, more of an empathetic view of how the public perceives things and how to generate that communication between the board and the community. Those fascinating. And then one course took was on civility. We don't see that much problem here. Our community is very civil. It's a positive problem. But, you know, there are issues. I heard stories that were unbelievable. Like Denver, they had 6 hours of people just coming up talking. 6 hours before the board meeting started, where we had 2 people, they had 6 hours worth of talking about whatever issues they were dealing with. And so it just goes to show you that, you know, whatever issues you think you might have, there are places that have it a lot worse than we do. So it was an enriching experience, and I'm grateful I got to go.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about 2 sessions that I went to that I, you know, I got the most benefit from. The first one was, it talked about, actually, these 2 ladies went with me to that first one. So it was about rural areas are experiencing education burnout, which, you know, when Shana would stand up there every month, she kind of did speak about this. So again, it's not just unique to our school district, it's all across the nation this is happening. And, you know, some of the signs that they said to look were just, you know, they know the quality of their work, but they have so much work that they feel overwhelmed that they're not doing a good enough job. And they're saying some people are leaving the profession because of it. And because they feel so stressed that they can't get the job done that's expected of them, you know, high achiever type people. So they said some of the solutions were, one was compensation, which, you know, that's always the typical solution. But they talked about, this was the teacher that was there, she was from California. So again, some of these things that happen in these other states maybe can't happen here because of our rules and regulations. But this school is from California, and she talked about a community school where everyone is involved in taking, educating the child, whether it be the community comes in and offers mentorships, and just everyone's involved in educating a child. And then she says to prioritize your people in the building, which means that she relate it to like when the stewardess on the airplane where they say, put your oxygen mask on first before you try to help somebody else. So that's kind of what she said. We need to take care of the people that are inside this building in order to get what we need for them to help somebody else. So that kind of stuck with me a little bit. Because it's very true. You do need to take care of you before you can take care of somebody else. Some things that she said we could do, all students are our students. She suggested maybe mental health days. That's. Principals need to be supported as well. And then to ask teachers what they need, just that's a simple question. Come with an idea. If they come to you with an idea, don't say no right away. Say, you know what, let's see if we can figure it out. Let's, maybe we can't, but at least let's try to figure it out. And it may work, it may not. And then what she said she did to her principal is just, she didn't agree with what he was telling her. She would say, I'd like to challenge your thinking on that. So that's how she kind of got around not being so negative or being mad. It was just like, just having a conversation. And she says, we need to do more of that, just having conversations instead of just being, no, you can't do this, no, blah, blah, blah. Just try to make it work. So that does happen. And wellness was a very important thing, is saying that we should try to do some wellness PD with our staff here, which I don't think was a bad idea either. All right, the next thing was, she's got this pulled up. So this school district in Wisconsin, which I thought was really cool, but so Pewaukee. So they do something similar to it started, can you click on courses up on the top? So what they do is they partner with people out in the community that have particular professions, and they get them to mentor a student. And so the student they can earn credits, high school credits, college credits, and then they actually get a person in the community that can guide them in a career that they may be interested in. And this will be a relationship that they'll have pretty much their whole entire life. Click on, go up to the top. The one on the left is the world there. That's the very first one that they started. They only started with one. The director of the curriculum person said, she says, you know what? I just went out to my family and said, hey, do you know anybody that knows this profession? And they, that's how it grew from there. They're going to be offering 10 this year. They're going to add aviation to their program this year. So they collaborate with the English teachers, social studies teachers, math teachers. This one, the kids earn 3, right? Total credits. And so those are the credits that they would earn doing this particular. So it's sort of like a Questar type thing, but they're doing it inside the school. I just thought it was something unique. I don't know if it's something we can even do, but back out of there, Neil, and there's one more I wanted to. So go down a little bit. I don't know why I didn't know what I was gonna say. Elements of health. Look at the technology. That's the next one down over to that one. Just see the credits that they would earn down at and those are, so they would learn like Adobe Photoshop skills. They would learn, these are all skills that they could leave college having these, that they would know how to use. I just thought, I don't know, it's just, it's very unique. They said that what they did with this program is that they got an idea from another school district and then they made it their own. So while they got this idea from somebody else, this is unique to their school district. And other school districts are actually reaching out to them to get their ideas. So anyway, that was just a cool thing. All right. I'm done my report. Thank you. All right. So we have Mary Domingo.
Good evening. So this week we are grades 3 through 6 are actually today we started the state math assessments. So today and tomorrow grades 3 and 4 are completing them, and then Thursday and Friday grades 5 and 6 are completing them. And these are CBT, these are computer-based tests. So once again, I want to thank the faculty and staff for everything that they've really gone out of their way to make this an easier situation, because we have lots of students who have alternate rotations and accommodations. So everybody's been proctoring, and thank you to the IT department for all of their help, and Terry Hoffman has organized the whole thing. So it's been wonderful. And we at the elementary school are working on getting back to normal. We had our glow run right before break for all of the students. So grades pre-K through 6, they were training, they were running for a while, and then they turned the lights off and everybody was dressed in glow in the dark stuff. It was actually pretty impressive, and we played music, and we had all sorts of teachers and staff come out and support them. So it was nice to get back to that sense of normalcy. And lastly, we are going to have our Spring Into Learning Fair, and it's going to be Tuesday, May 17th from 4:30 to 6:30. And we would love for you all to come.
What's the date again, Mary?
At Tuesday, May 17th,
17. Did you send me a flyer?
4:30 to 6:30.
Yes, so that's the budget.
Yeah, Matt we worked with Matt Perry on that, so it might be on the website, but if not, it will be there tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
And that's it.
That was awesome. Thanks. Nice to have that back again.
Yes.
That was always a very successful thing. Okay. We have Jim.
Well, tonight you approved my resignation, and I never thought that I would, actually, I thought the only way you were gonna get me out of here without looking like John Gulising with as much hair on my head, 30-some years of experience, is to have another opportunity to lead and support students and staff members in a different location. And this opportunity came up, and you know, I'm thrilled with my time here, but I'm also excited at the opportunity to do something different. But I can assure you, between now and the rest of the year, I will continue to lead and support our students and staff members and community members in a positive way through all the challenges that we have in front of us right now and the things that we need to prepare for going forward. The immediate challenges for our students are state tests, AP exams, field tests, local exams, Regents exams, final grades, all of these daunting things that are waiting over the next 7 weeks for our kids. And ultimately graduation from school and graduation from whatever grade they're in right now. So we have a lot of challenges, but you know, the messages that we took back from San Diego are really important. If we take these challenges and we reframe them and we're positive on these things, our students are going to learn from every single one of us. So I'm glad to hear that message, and we'll keep passing it on down to our students.
Sandra, you have more talking to do?
I do have a little
All
more.
right.
I won't take too long, I promise.
No, that's okay.
This has been almost a year delay. What I want to talk to you about tonight because of COVID. Also, as you are aware, we usually travel with Operation Wallacea every 2 years, and that was delayed. And we went to Mexico last year instead of Croatia, but some of the group really wanted to hold out for that Croatia trip, and after consulting with Neil and Jim, we just felt that this is also not the summer to go to Croatia. So we will not do an aqua trip this coming summer, and we have yet to decide about a European trip, which we would typically go to next spring. But in the meantime, we have started this campaign that really we intended to start a year ago as soon as we finished the science research endowment. And this is a travel endowment that will be set up through the Berkshire Foundation. You are the first to get the pamphlet. It's still kind of in draft form, but I wanted you to have it. We have a small committee because my committee has also changed of interest. So we're moving forward with some teachers that are really dedicated to this cause also. the cause is very well explained, I believe, in the pamphlet, so I won't go through that tonight, but if you do have any questions, please reach out to me. And I would like to challenge you as board members. It's so much easier when I go out and approach a business or a organization to donate, if I can say that I have 100% board participation in the cause. So even a $10 donation would be very much appreciated. You can like to the Berkshire County Foundation or go online and make the donation. So once I can say that, that would be a really big advantage to me. So please consider that. Our first event is going to happen May 7th. We have a flyer for that. And the funds are being raised under the E-Fund Committee. And the E-Fund Committee has for years.
Anybody golf? I don't golf, but.
We can all be terrible together.
Terrible last year.
Come on, let's golf.
So
Come on.
if you are a golfer, or if you know of a golfer and they'd like to participate, this will be May 7th. And that's it for tonight. Thanks.
I think we should do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Just want to call your attention to two resolutions that are on the agenda that were part of our budget discussion that we wrapped everything up. The resolution to close out the capital fund. We wanted to use those funds for debt service in the 23-24 school year. So we'll close out that capital fund, move those funds, which are approval to the debt service fund. And then once the new school year starts on 7/1, we move that money from the debt service fund to the general fund and pay our debt service down. So that's on page 3. And then on page 4, as we have discussed, we need to replenish the self-funded prescription drug plan with Benefit. So the balance is currently in a deficit amount of about $426,000, and besides that, we're required to have a reserve of about $741,000. So that is up from the last time we discussed it, but we do have another month of data. So that total now is about $1.1 million that we will pay to Benefit from unreserved fund balance to true up that reserve. And I just want to make sure everyone's aware, we have discussed that it could happen again. We could do it again. We're watching it. The Prudent RX plan should help us to bring costs down, but we may not feel the impact of that until at least the start of the new fiscal year. And then finally, we're just putting the finishing touches on the Titan Herald, so you should see that in your mailboxes around May 10th or 11th ahead of the budget vote.
So, and one, the Prudent RX, I would like to thank all the associations for agreeing to that modification. It will save them money, it will save the taxpayers money. And again, this is related to past and present employees and fulfilling our OPEB obligations. And the high cost of some of these medications that are being prescribed.
And one thing I'd like to point out is this 1.1 million, if we didn't have that money in that general fund account, the taxpayers would be putting this bill, just so that we're clear on that. Just want to make sure I brought that.
So I would like to say that Questar congratulated us on this, as well as the Healthcare Trust. They are, it is being rolled out in other districts right now as we speak, but we have led the way.
Thanks, Sybil. What's up, Stella?
Good evening. To give some data, the CSE office has held 367 meetings this year. And out of those meetings, we are going to have on May 17th from 6:30 to 7:30 for high school students and families, how to support your high school student in these challenging times. Different agencies from Columbia County will be there to talk about how to support students Mental Health Association, for example, will be there. Our staff will be there, school psychologists, the school social workers to talk to families as a panel about how to support their students. Social media, vaping, drug abuse, challenging issues that we
We're
see.
gonna
as
cover that all in
parents.
an hour, that's gonna be
What?
challenging.
We'll be able to give them supports for
Okay.
families to know where to go, because sometimes they don't know where to go.
Yeah, that's true.
6:30 PM. Flyer will be out.
Yes, after spring break.
See how we did that?
I led the way from there. so that's all.
Okay, let's see, buildings and grounds, Nick. Hi, Nick.
Last week was break week, and those weeks give us a great opportunity to work on projects that we can't usually do when school's in session. Some of the things that we were able to do last week was strip and wax the green room area, the community room. At the south parking lot, you'll notice that the batting cage went up for softball. We did some parking lot repairs, and the turf was also serviced last week. We did the grooming and GMAX testing, and all of our tests came back good, so it's all safe for the students to use. So last week was very productive, and we like to take advantage of those breaks.
Was batting cage where the softball fields?
Yeah, that's the softball field. The baseball has had one for a while. We put one down on the softball field last week. Once a year. Yeah, annually.
Thanks.
No.
All right, Rick.
How are you?
How are you?
We're doing well. We have been trying to get all of our ducks in a row, if you will, for the new lift, should it be approved by the voters. And we found out yesterday that SED has approved that purchase for state aid, should the voters approve it.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's a positive note. We're also spending some time trying to make heads or tails out of the new electric bus regulations that the governor put out there. I attended a webinar a couple weeks ago. Bobby Joe is attending one, I think tomorrow. So we'll try to get to the bottom of it.
So if I could just add on to that, we did kind of have an impromptu meeting with Kai. Bonnie attended, Nick was there, Rick was there, myself, Sybil was in for a little while. And we're talking with them about what they can do for us if in fact the project is approved and goes through. So it was, he called in the morning, said he was in Copic for a meeting. We stopped by in the afternoon. I said, sure. And I got a hold of Bonnie. Bonnie was able to come. And I thought we had a nice conversation. We'll see how this goes. This was a lot of the governor's proposal was new to him. And
This is Alex, right?
this is Alex.
From Hecate,
Yeah, what I said.
Hecate.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I would have probably would have brutalized.
I have no
that,
idea
so
what
glad
you're
I
talking
didn't have to
about.
say it.
But it was the first time that I believe he was on campus, and we talk about the monolith a little bit, the receivership, and selling the 2 arrays on our property to the other investment company. So we're talking, we're communicating.
Rick, any word on the?
So we did, we still have not gotten the pumping company there to pump out that pit that we talked about. They're behind the 8 ball with getting drivers and getting their own tanks empty, the storage that they have there.
Clean Harbor?
We're using a company out of New Lebanon, which had a considerably better price than Clean Harbors. But at this point, we may have to take a look at Clean Harbors and maybe go with them for a little bit more money if we can't get them down. But since we could not do anything with that, we did take that rear piston apart. And I'm confident to say that there are no external leaks coming from that piston casing that were going into the ground.
So for argument's sake, you pump that stuff out, fill it with cement and hold it there.
In theory, yes, that's the simple way to do it.
That's the theory.
We're going to probably need to get, an environmental thing on that.
Right.
We just want to be very careful following what the interpretation of the rules are.
we certainly wouldn't just pump it out and fill it in. All the piping that is in there and any of the, hydraulic lines or anything like that would have to be taken out before we did anything like that. We are, aware of the need to be environmentally friendly.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, John, you're up now.
Good evening, and I want to thank Dr. Howard for the preliminary education comment he had, but I can't take credit for that. It's really the administrators who chose school tool over e-schools, and that's basically the difference. We're getting ready for summer work. Tech plan needs to be finalized. Hopefully, next board meeting, I can present that after the state approves it. And all like that.
Thank you, John. And we have Pam, Sybil's going to report.
Yes, tonight's tasting is cheese-filled breadsticks, fondly known by the kids as Bosco sticks, and meat sauce, which was prepared by the high school cook Dorian Dan. And May 6th is National Lunch Lady Appreciation Day.
When is it?
May 6th. And Pam provided a little data about the work they have done this year from September until the end of March. The staff has prepared and served 51,649 breakfast meals and 98,269 lunches.
Wow.
All free, all free.
Nice. Thank you. Next up is this, Madeline's not here. So now- Okay.
Food service workers, yes.
I get that with the TV and gym. I always
One in
get-
each kitchen and then about 10 staff.
I get that. We're dating ourselves though. I always get a look when I do gym teacher and that's like, PE teacher. Sorry.
That is what the holiday is called, so lunch lady appreciation.
Seriously? That's awesome.
That's all.
All right, we have no old business at this time. New business, so we have our Questar, we have the people that are running for the board and the budget ballot. So I have to read each one of these and we have to go for each one separately. Unfortunately, I gotta read all of that. Okay, so, election members of the Rensselaer Columbia Green County Board of Cooperative Educational Services. There are two incumbent nominees and two incumbent nominees and two new nominees for 4 of BOCES expiring board term positions. So, be it resolved, the Board of Education has cast its vote for the election of Mr. Edmund Brooks. Oh, wait, do I have to do motion first, right?
Yes.
Yes, I need a motion, for the nomination of Edmund Brooks. Is that right? Is that how I do that, Neil?
Well.
Do I just read all of this? I'm sorry.
Motion and a vote.
Okay. So motion to cast your vote for Mr. Edmund Brooks for the Columbia County Eastern Ichabod School District as a member of the Board of Cooperative Educational Services. So can I have yays first? Okay. That's all in favor for Edmund Brooks. So now I need a motion for Mr. David Finch from Greenville Central School District as a member of the board of Cooperative Educational Services. Motion, Bill, Joe, all in favor, 4. Now I need a vote or a motion for Nadine Gazzola, Columbia County. She's from Hill Central School District. Terry, second. Alicia, all in favor? Oh, no, it's fine.
So. she's,
Yeah, no, I can do it, right.
Her husband is.
Yeah. And she was the board president of Chatham for a while.
Correct.
Can I have a motion for the nomination of Melanie Spock? Joe, second? Yeah.
She's a graduate of Congress.
Oh, she was? Oh. All in favor? Thanks. All right, so now this is for the administrative budget that was presented to us a couple weeks ago, correct? Do I need to do that one over, Ashley? No?
Another one over.
So the first one over, so I kind of did.
No,
All right.
you're good.
Okay, the administrative budget. So be it resolved, the Board of Cooperative Educational Services of Rensselaer, Columbia, Green counties is authorized to extend the sunset quarter from the 2022-2023 tentative administrative budget document in the amount of $6,976,593. Okay, motion. Joe, second. Ron, sorry, losing my voice. All in favor? Now I need a motion for the adoption of the district calendar for next year. Can I have a motion, please? Bill, second. Heidi? Any questions? All in favor? All right, now I need a motion for the approval of the 2022-2023 payroll schedule. Motion? Joe? Second, Ron, any questions on that? I think you have that in front of you, right? Questions? All in favor? All right, I need a motion for the approval of property tax report card. Motion? Motion? Right, sorry, when I look at you. Second? No, I know, I'm always looking that way. Any questions on that? All in favor? Thank you. All right, we need the authorization of disposal of various textbooks. Can I have a motion, please? Alicia, second. Any questions on that? All in favor? Approval of the hourly rate of pay of $18.50 established by the Columbia County Board of Elections for the clerical and primary inspectors for the annual district election on May 17th, 2022, from noon to 9 p.m. Motion, please. Terry, second. Alicia, any questions on that? Okay. Next up, we have the approval of the field trip for the FFA State Convention in Syracuse on May 12th, from May 12th to May 14th. Have a motion, please. Terry, second. Heidi. Any questions? All in favor? Approval of the following educational service contract for the 2021-2022 school year effective March 30th, 2022. For Mountain Lake Academy Classic. Can I have a motion, please? Bill, second. Ron, any questions? No question?
What's that for? Special. Residential.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, so now we have these resolutions. These are the resolutions that someone was talking about earlier. So we have the we have the capital project fund. So we have $330,299.84 left over from the capital project, which is going into reserve, which will be later paid down our debt service. Can I have a motion, please? Heidi, second. Joe, anybody got any other questions on that? All in favor? Okay, so this is for, we're approving the days of Friday, May 27th and Monday, June 20th. And with all the staff, can I have a motion, please? Heidi, second. Joe?
It's my birthday.
Anybody got questions or anything?
Take the day off.
All right, all in favor? Yeah. Yeah, kind of nice, right? Resolution to extend probationary appointment, so I'll read this one. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of Pine Hill Central School District, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, hereby approves agreement dated April 13, 2022, extending the probationary appointment of Roberto Rodriguez for a period of 1 year, to August 31st, 2023, in accordance with the terms of said agreement. Motion, please. Joe, second. Ron, any questions? All in favor? Okay. All right, so this is, so be it resolved, the Board of Education of Cottonville Central School District hereby extends the term appointments of the following teachers and teaching assistants for the maximum period September 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. This is a grant funded term appointment. It's not a probationary appointment. It's specifically found that the following teachers and teaching assistants have agreed to waive any raise they may have to probationary appointment in consideration for tenure. The such agreement will be evidenced by a written signed by both parties. The teachers and teaching assistants will receive salary and benefits as outlined below and in a letter agreement by both parties. Here's the list of them. Their motion, please. Joe, second. Bill, any questions on those? And how many more years is this for civil?
These positions will be funded for 1 more.
1 more year. Okay. All in favor? Resolution to extend teacher on a special assignment agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of Cottonville Central School District does hereby reappoint Mr. Phillips to 1 year temporary assignment to the position of PLA coach as a teacher on special assignment. Ms. Phillips shall maintain all benefits that she is currently receiving under the Cottonville Faculty Association contract. She shall continue to accrue seniority in the special education tenure area. This assignment shall be for a period not to extend beyond June 30th, 2023, unless extended. Motion, please. Ron, second. Bill. And she's replacing Mal. Is that what she's?
No.
Oh,
Now, this is also funded by the grant as a literacy. fund.
oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, this is to refund the prescription drug plan. So, as Sybil pointed out, it's $1.1 million that we had to fund that reserve account. Prescription drugs. So can I have a motion for that, please? Terry, second. Joe? Well, that's a big chunk of change to come out, and if we would have, you know, yeah. That's good, cool. All right, resolution to approve the COVID-19 testing and reporting team compensation. So we're, these are people that we are giving stipends for testing and the reporting of the COVID during all of the testing we had to do for our staff and students. So can I have a motion, please? Joe, second. Ron? Any questions about that? Questions? All right, all in favor? Thank you. All right, so we have public forum 2, we have Christine Costa.
Usually I have a ton of questions right now, but tonight I don't have any.
So you just put your name down just in case?
Just in case I had questions about, because usually I go home and ask him and he's like, oh. So I put my name down. I'll ask the question to you guys, but I got nothing.
That's
tonight.
very good, so yeah, that's good, okay.
They're all the same.
All right, Christine, thank you. That's funny. All right. So, we have some additional items to discuss, as well. So, the resolution kit, I sent you all an email. I hope you're all able to, I hope you were all able to go through it. Did you go through it, Joe? So this is something Joe is usually our delegate at the convention and usually votes for us. This year it's gonna be,
Yes, it is.
But, so the legislative committee, Terry has, she's going to write a resolution for this. It'll be the first time Tacoma Kills is doing this. But this was a survey that NISBA took of all the school districts and each one of them, there were quite a few of them that were of interest to our school district. I just wanted to go through a couple of them. So number 2, which is they support regional high schools, and I know at one time, Dr. Howard talked about this. I know all the years I've been here, he always would talk about this. I don't know if you want to give a little synopsis of that, Neil, or.
For number 2. you referring
That was a
to?
regional high school where we would merge with other school districts and it would be like one.
I guess I did talk a long time about that.
Well, we don't want to talk a long time.
In Columbia County, going back, probably close to over 40 years now. But I think this is something that is going to be more in the forefront as districts share more and more services. And we try to be more, get smaller and try to be fiscally more responsible. So, you can just take a look at the Columbia County School Districts and their borders and see that they don't make a lot of sense. And, there is a push in the legislature to maybe simplify some of these boundaries to hopefully save some districts some money. And what I had shared with, back in the 60s, when I came in to do some urban development in downtown Hudson, Promenade Hill, they talked about the northern Columbia County School District and the southern Columbia County School. What it may look like in the districts involved, and the way the rules are set up now, it's very difficult to combine a school with another school, and it takes a public vote, it takes a board of education vote, and it's happening a little bit in North Country, and I think it will be spread.
Number 4 was another one that's, spoke to it tonight about the pilot program. So they're looking to have the schools have more of a voice on these boards when these businesses come into our towns and they try to get, they want tax breaks, but what are they going to give us as a school district? And whatever that is, we need to figure that out. But I think it's a great idea to have someone from the school district on these boards because then the school district has a say, or at least they have some voice.
I think over time, by the way, like we are finding out in the is over time, the taxes that they're going to be paying aren't really equitable with the scope of the project and the money that they are making. So yes, it's to have a higher.
So I think to my knowledge does not apply for any pilots, and unless you have different information from the Copay board.
The renting loan, correct?
I don't know.
It's 15 weeks, so yeah. But they did talk about some tax reimbursements over the years and how these co-pays would benefit from it, and it's not really comparable to the amount of money that they.
Well, my theory is with rental property, why can't they pay school tax?
Well, I think they're saying
that
that
they're getting stuff with money. So
I think
technically, if leasing, they don't own the property, correct?
but then the landowner is really based upon the value of the land. So if their value increases by having the solar farm on it, then we will have some sort of tax kind of benefit. We will receive something.
So the next one was number 5, which is, it's just we need some reforms to the tax cap levy. We all know that. That just needs to happen. I'm sure that's on the resolution every year. The next one is, unique because it really represents our school, is to raise the percent of the unassigned fund balance, which we have been the leaders and we've been the example for many school districts. So now school districts are saying, we need to raise that percentage that we need to have in there. And so that's finally coming full circle around, and definitely as a school district, we should get behind that, I'm sure. Next one is, it's number 7, I wasn't sure.
Okay, so when
Okay, thanks.
when a person is brought up on dismissal charges, 3028 proceeding, they're on paid leave, and they remain on paid leave, usually for the duration until a determination is made by a hearing officer. And that can be quite a long time, years in some cases.
So they want to cap the
So they want to limit that. You may have heard in New York City of rubber rooms, where they send people to finish out their careers, and sometimes they're there for years.
So number 8, NISBA supports. I personally don't support it because it's for union reasons, but I understand their position for that. That's to be neutral on amending the Triborough. They want to support the Triborough amendment so that schools, when they are out of contract, they don't have to pay the step increments while they are negotiating. You know what I mean? Like say if we're out of contract and we don't get one for a whole year, well, they would still get their step payments. I'm not really in favor of that, but that's only, it's only my own personal reasons.
So the idea here is to force bargaining units to the table.
We always talked about that.
And you're not in favor?
I'm not, no. But that's my new person.
Right.
That's my
So it
personal.
looks like it's 50% supported.
Right, and I would understand why school districts would do this, it's just personally, I'm not. All right, number 9, I wasn't sure what that means either, so.
So there's differences between small city school district rules and rural school districts. Hudson,
I was just gonna say, they're a small city school.
they are, so
Okay.
is Rensselaer. And they're similar, but they're looked at slightly different. And this is to make it more uniform for all school districts.
Let's see, number 10, total use. Oh, that's the foundation aid formula, that's what we're doing our resolution, yeah.
85%.
Yeah, I mean, especially school districts like ours, who are rural school districts, and we're land wealthy, and we have 65% free reduced lunch. They need to change that formula. It's antiquated, it just needs to go. So I'm definitely going to support that one. The next one was, so decreasing the age from 21 to 18 for CDL license, so they could drive a bus. I mean, I'm in favor of this because of the program, and I'm in favor of trying to make it work.
This is a tough one.
It is, it's tough, I get it.
I sent you some
Yes,
on my
You did,
email,
yes.
it's working, it's not now.
it is a tough thing. But our kids can go off to war at 18. I mean, the thing is that I know that we want to coddle them as long as we can, but
I agree to some extent with.
I don't think they have enough experience.
No.
They don't have the skills to fix.
But then the state survey, they did not support it. The majority did not support it. So, but then maybe there's some way of,
You know, if you're running a backhoe,
Introducing-
you hit the side of the house, people siding off is one thing, but when you're driving a bus with kids and you go off the road, it's different.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's a
So-
tough, you know,
So
it's a
kids in the
tough
bus, I
one.
don't think an 18-year-old would be good.
But maybe there's some simulators or some other
There are,
training
yeah.
that we could
support for the kids to at least get the experience behind the wheel. I know that there are tons of simulators out there.
I don't know if there are, I mean, I'm reaching out to that school in California, so I'll see where they got theirs from.
I remember high school doing that.
Yeah, put them in a closed room with 50 kids for 6 hours. That'll tell you something
That's
about
true.
Driving the bus with the kids, huh?
That's true, you're right, that's a good point. The next is just enhancing cybersecurity, which we definitely should all get behind that. Number 13, I wasn't quite sure about that one either. I mean, do we do this already? Like,
Well, yes, we do, and we put, the board has put many resources over the past 3 years.
but they're gonna make it a requirement for all schools? I mean, is that
Well,
the difference?
The American Psychological Association for years has recommended a ratio to have, but the fact of the matter is, buildings are all different sizes.
Okay.
And in some cases, it may make sense, and in others, it may not make sense. So I think this requires a little bit more explaining.
Oh, this should go off the ratio of the student body, no?
Well, there's recommendations, but there is nothing.
Oh, they're saying make it in a requirement, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I
And this
got it.
isn't in lieu of a school resource officer. or
No, this is a mental health
Like social
professional.
worker psychology.
Right.
Yeah.
So in theory, this is an unfunded mandate, I would say.
But they're good at flag what time they're.
We have these people, correct?
We have before.
And then the last one was, to provide services for kids 21, you know, who still haven't graduated. And
That's it. That was pretty split.
over 21, yeah.
This is very complicated.
This is
guys.
very
That's what I'm
split.
saying, when are you gonna be 34 years
Well,
old?
it is split because how, well, I'm just gonna say, do we do it to the 35, like, it is split.
Yeah,
It
it
is split. So anyway, you know, these, I just wanted to bring these so that we can talk about them as a board, because Terry will be writing a resolution, you know, on behalf of our school district and, we bring it in, you know.
And then we'll be voting on it. Well,
Do we know any other school that are doing it?
Do we want resolutions? Most of the school districts, I don't know if you've been to the convention, so we get the thing before we go. And it's usually like Nyack or it's like Nassau, it's always
Right.
Westchester County usually. And,
Long Island. or
Yeah.
something.
And then we discussed it, and when they wanted to give.
Joe
Oakland
voted one
some
time, he
raise,
was the
I
little
was the
guy.
only one with my hand up for no out of 400 people. And the guy goes, that's dedication right there. I was the only one that not to get the big ones a raise. I was the only one with my hand up.
You know, it'll be nice to get our name on the map.
Gladys was probably good to it. Sitting on
I'll
you.
never forget that. The
That's
guy
so funny.
next week goes,
So the next thing I want is on there is the proposal to change the time of our June 15th Board of Education regular meeting to 5:30, so that we can have a retiree reception at 6:30. So outside, hopefully it's good weather and, you know, I guess we're gonna have music and, you know, bring back some old retirees that have retired years past and invite them back as well. So I think that's good. I think that'll be a good idea.
So we're gonna add some of our new employees as a welcome as well.
Give us the rules, your piece.
I think that's a great idea. And there is one other thing that I added to this is, the superintendent evaluation. I know we did a work, you know, a retreat couple like last month or 2 months ago, but, May, we should probably be doing that again. What I'll do is, get packets to you and fill them out, and then we'll have a retreat in late May, possibly. All right, sound good? I'll come up with some dates. I'll email you guys. And I guess that's it for now. So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations and employment history of a particular person. Joe, second. Ron, all in favor? Thank you.
John?
Thank you.
I got to do that.
John's running?
Yeah.
Executive session, unfortunately,